Hi, everyone. Nice to be back at the World Women Foundation at Cannes Lions. Thank you so much, Rupa, and all the team of World Women Foundation for welcoming us, MG Empower, again. I'm Maira Genovese. I'm the CEO and founder of MG Empower, a global integrated market agency. And today I have an incredible guests that are talking about creative economy and what's the role of women into this new era that we are living in, creative economy. So before we start, I want my guests to introduce themselves. So we start with you, Emily. We have double Emily today in the panel.
I don't know, my mic is it working? No. Yeah. Let's change. Hi, I'm Emily McDonnell. I have spent over a decade in the creator economy. Well, the word creator or influencer wasn't a thing back then, but I recently spent 4 years as head of creator partnerships in the UK and Northern Europe at Snapchat. Then I was at Bumble and then Google, all in influencer marketing roles. And now I have my own consultancy, so I consult, advise, as well as create content. So yeah.
And Bia.
Hello, everyone. I'm not an Emily, I'm a Bia. I've been building the creator economy for the past 20 years, when it wasn't even a thing also. Influencers weren't around. YouTube was only 1 year old. Instagram wasn't around, so yeah, that old. And I helped build the ecosystem in Brazil for 20 years, and then I sold my company. I moved to LA, and I'm now in a new role. Consulting, advising, and helping build the structures for the creator economy to thrive. I think creator economy rocks. That's what I believe, and I do everything for it to rock more.
Woo. I'm Emily too, so this panel is going to be a little bit confusing in terms of questions. I also have been in the creator economy for a long time, I think about 12 years. And it's nice to have these conversations with people who have also been in the space for such a long period of time, because we get an element of reflections, and also you get to appreciate the growth, right? You know, from no creators in Cannes to now creators dominating Cannes this year. My background is a little bit 360. I used to head up creative partnerships at Amazon. And prior to that, I was at WPP Mediacom, and I built the influencer division there, working with brands like Coca-Cola, Sony, Sky, Dell, and more. And then prior to that, I was at two of the first creator and brand marketplaces that were connecting brands and creators. And today, I very much work for myself. I consult, advise, work with different brands in the creator economy on how to scale efficiently and how to essentially grow via creators and creator partnerships.
As you can see, we have the experts in this panel. So we were talking before the panel started about how Cannes Lions has been changing over the years. And I think this year it's very clear that creative economy is not just on the sideline. It's all about creative economy. And for me, it's very interesting to see the shift, because I've been coming to Cannes Lions for about 10 years now. So I saw this whole shift happening. And it's very exciting to see that now creators are taking, the role of where brands can understand their values. And then we're talking that the creators is actually the new advertisers, right? So I wanted to get your perspective, Emily, because you've been at Cannes Lions before when you work with Amazon on the brand side, and now you're back as a consultancy and then also working directly with the creators. What is your view, and what do you think that where we're going next with the creator economy, and what is redefining the industry?
It's so funny. So the first year I came to Cannes, I think was 2021, and I was at WPP at the time, and it was an incredible experience to come and see this, but it felt very much like an exclusive creative industry moment where creators weren't a part of the conversation at all. So I would go and listen to talks and it would be like amazing, yes, if I heard someone say the word influencer. Whereas now, obviously, it's completely shifted in a really short space of time. I think it's demonstrated how the industry's really evolved, where brands and agencies used to see creators as just a amplification tactic. So we're doing this campaign, we've got a bit of budget left over, let's just put it into creators and get them to amplify the message. Whereas now it's becoming the core of everything that everyone is doing. And I think brands are recognizing that creators are their own businesses in their own right. They're their own brands. You know, they're building their own media companies, and they really have a lot more control and power, especially in the creative space. And so I think we're seeing this inevitable sort of lean in from brands. For creators, I think that they're also recognizing that this isn't just a corporate marketing event. Like, this is a huge opportunity for them to build relationships and get face time and learn from brands as well. I think creators are always hungry to learn from people, and don't often get opportunities to come and listen to CMOs and VPs talk about their insights. And I think that it's just become a really great sort of holistic space for everyone.
And Bia, that's just like taking what Emily said, because like it's a great opportunity for creators to come and to listen to CEOs and VPs and to brands. You've been in this industry, what we talk about, 20 years ago, when we were like blogs, with not even like we're bloggers, right? Because before influencers, there were a blogger, and then Emily's going to talk a little bit about that as well. So how then to educate the creators for this new wave and the new change that we are seeing now, that brands, there's no way back, right? So even when sometimes we discuss with our clients, and it's still brands understand that they need to engage with the creators, but they still want to engage the way they think that should be, like creating briefings where the creators will have to follow the briefing precisely. If you don't record, looking straight to the camera, or if you don't add this element. And creators is not more about that. And in order to content to resonate, you need to get that freedom. So how to educate brands and creators? And do you think the creators are taking more the ownership? They feel more powerful now because they see that now is their time?
100%. I think we need to educate brands more than we need to educate creators. Because I think the way brands always created communication, it was always looking to vanity metrics, to awareness, eyeballs. And to what Emily said, it's not about distribution, because you can buy reach, but you can't buy context. You can't buy relevancy. And I think that's what creators are bringing to the table. And they know that. And I think that's the disconnect, because we say a lot, oh my God, the creative freedom and the briefs and all. I think it's just like a disalignment and a misunderstanding of what a creator should be. I think creators are only, if you think about the way you create advertising artifact, you have the creative agency, you have the production company, you have the distribution channel, the media, right? You have probably an institute helping you understand the context and read people and audience behavior, and then you have like Nielsen to give you the metrics. And the creators are delivering all that in one shot, but still we only look at them through like the media angle. So how many people they're going to reach, and I think we're missing out on so much. And I think that's the education we need to really be making with the brands. They need to look at the creator as a whole ecosystem. And I think if they understand that, they're going to be able to do better work. It's not about creative freedom, because distribution they will buy if needed. Organic reach is dead anyways, right? I think it's understanding that and creating briefs that share the business goals, not outputs. Let's talk about outcomes and not outputs.
Love that. And then talk about vanity metric. Me and Emily, I met Emily 7, 8, 9 years ago. We don't know, but we know each other for a long time. And then we used to work as agents and brand, right, as we started. And I love what you said about vanity metrics, because where we came from the beginning was all about the Venet metrics, right? So how does brand can measure more effective now creator content?
So we met when I was at Bumble, and I found myself in these positions where I've like been the first one to build the creator ecosystems at the companies that I worked at, and the one thing that I would say right now, and like a message to brands working with creators, that yes, we're talking about like you can buy like distribution with AI is very easy now. It's it's not a like everyone can create content. You can buy like eyeballs, everything. The one thing that you cannot buy is trust. And this is the one really, really unique USP that a creator has. And also that's where you see the really impactful brand partnerships with creators is when it is, and I've been preaching this since 2018 or 2017, yes, a brand can have, they have their KPIs, they have to hit, all these goals. But the reason why you are working with the creator is that because you want to basically tap into their audience, So this is why you're like looking at the target audience, engagement rate, all that stuff. But it's so important that the brand allows a bit of creator freedom for the creator, so they can have, going back to the brief again, and this is the common mistake that I see, and people know this now, like everyone can see when something is too like scripted, and the creator knows their audience the best, and when they see a brief or campaign where the creators still have their voice, their kind of creative touch to it, then they know that, okay, this is something that creator generally believes in that brand, and the trust is there, and therefore there's more, I would say, intent to either purchase or be part of a service, whatever that brand is providing. So yes, I think trust is very, very, very important right now. And that's, like, I had a friend who's a creator, and she was telling me that her videos she usually do around like 45 seconds, like that's her like go-to when it comes to reels. And this company, that a brand that she was working with, like specifically said, no, we want like 1 minute 30 seconds. And she was saying, no, but like this is like my audience don't really respond to that, and they kept on like pushing it. Then they released that, and then she had already created a 45-second video or reel, and she also, she was really proud of that video, so she later posted it, and guess which piece of content got the most engagement, and so it was the one, 45-second again, so.
And then you mentioned AI, so now everyone can create content in a much more fast way, right? Is creators, I know like a lot of creators creating content is still not using AI, but do you see a future where creators will increase the number of content because AI will support them to be more agile and effective? But if so, would this look genuine? Would this look where we can still be able to trust, because now we know that there is an AI behind helping them to create the content? Shall we say that the authenticity is not potentially is going to be there, or what's your view?
Yeah, I think creators are already using AI in many different moments of the workflow, pre-production, brainstorming, generating sometimes contents that they missed, like a shot or something, and especially post-production. I think when we talk about AI, we're also talking about agentic, like AI, which is changing a lot of their workflow. So I think, yes, AI is expediting the whole thing, for sure. They're already using it. And I've heard that many of them, especially editors, are kind of losing their taste. For me, I don't know, taste is like as much as an empty word as authenticity is right now, because what is it made of, But for me, I think it comes down to something that has meaning. I think comes with trust. So I believe that the content has another job to be done that is not only like being out there as a commodity. I think it's a vehicle for connection. So I think if they can keep that proximity, you know, like that identity, yeah, I think it still can be authentic, original, meaningful. I think one of the dimensions of authenticity is not only it's original, it's fun, it's meaningful, you know. Yeah, it's creating more than just like noise in the timeline. We don't need more content, you know. So I think creators that have been through to that, even when after the pandemic we saw a huge boom in the creator economy, I think they're still gonna be able to make it. But one point that I think is super interesting is that we're still in the very beginning of AI content. I think we're still trying to emulate something that we know, like movies or animations, I don't know. And I think we've not yet seen the final Pokemon form. You know, I think a new language, a new narrative, a new something is coming up, you know, like the way CDs were not the disruption to vinyls. Actually, Spotify was, you know. So I think we're still in the CD moment of AI. And I think I want to see where it goes.
I think creators who don't adapt to AI will fall behind. I honestly think at the end of the day, there's still a person in front of the camera, and it's still your tone of voice and your point of view. But the ability to scale your output using different AI tools, like you said, Bia, on pre-production, post-production. You know, I was at South by Southwest doing a conversation the other week with one of the co-founders of Flight Story Studio, Stephen Bartlett's podcast production company. And she was saying that the clipping concept and economy is generating creators millions of dollars of revenue just in social clips. And so I think that we're finding this time where the creative craft doesn't necessarily need to become before the decision of being a creator, right? Like people who used to decide to be creators or influencers were people who either had a really interesting story to tell, they wanted to showcase their life online, or they had some kind of creative craft and they could create beautiful content around it. That barrier to entry has completely gone. And I think that we're going to enter into a world where the process to produce content is just going to get simpler and simpler, and we're going to fall into really simple ecosystems like WhatsApp. You know, you're going to WhatsApp your agent. You've got an idea, it's going to go and create that post for you. You might have to go back and forth and edit that, but we're not that far away from this world, right? So I think that it's increasing the volume, it's increasing the opportunity for people to scale. Yes, the quality, there is a quality compromise with that. And I think it's going to be more and more competitive for people to get to the top.
I love all the, you know, the points that you raised, and I totally agree. But then I have a question. How then, if AI is going to support and is already supporting creators to creating content, how creators will price that to brands? Because like, I'm on the agency side, right? And I work direct with the brands to engage with creators. And one thing that is becoming more and more challenging is pricing, right? Because number of followers is not necessarily means to be more expensive anymore. Probably be when you started 20 years ago, if you have 1 million followers, your post will be much more expensive than someone that has 10,000 followers. Today, that doesn't mean anything, because we're talking more when you look at the metrics, is the engagement rate, is how is your communities engaged with your content. But then if the AI is coming to a place now and to support creating content, would this impact on how brands will be paying creators? Or what's your view? Because I'm always intrigued about the fee of creators, because there's no rule. There's no rule. You know what I mean? And then some, like, because we do so many campaigns, and then like you get up prices from macros, megas, and the difference of price is just so amazing to see it. Like 1 mega will charge 150,000 for 1 reels, and another mega with more engagement rate is charging 35,000, and you go like, oh, something is wrong here. And then even with the micro range, it's just becoming so much expensive. So how AI content fee will work together in the future?
This is an interesting question. Like the price question is like it's always been a bit of like it's it's either the one thing I like, and also I would just say like follower is dead. Like it is, and this whole thing of like you can charge X amount because you have 1 million, it doesn't. So the one thing I would say with AI and creators and stuff like, you have to actually look at the person and the quality of content, what they stand for, the values, what they're bringing, it's not about. I can kind of like I'm not, the whole like typical lifestyle influencer I think also is dying. It's too generic. So you need to have a point of view, and having worked directly with so many creators when I was at Snap and helped them build their profile on the platform, I always said personality is key, because that is what people trust in and kind of create the community around it. So I think with AI and pricing and stuff, like as from a brand point of view or agency, you can't just look at the follower anymore. You need to look at, okay, who is this person online, their value, but also offline as well. Who are they building communities? And another thing with price is the clever or the business savvy creators today are now asking for equity. They're not asking for IP. They understand that they're not a creator anymore. They're a media company, actually. So you have to look at it a bit different now. It's not as transactional as it used to be back in the day. So yeah. And then also with the AI, one thing I have to say, and kind of, I think a way that a creator can stand and kind of make a difference is actually being imperfect. So I think the word authenticity is now being replaced with being imperfect. It's actually seeing a typo, seeing a bit of a, I don't know, like a very personal quirk, something that you understand, like that's not AI, that's like the actual person, kind of gains a bit more trust now than this whole picture perfect type of content. It doesn't break through anymore.
I love that. So we're in the era of imperfection. I really like that.
I was thinking about, I have two POVs on that. The first one is that when we look at megas and macros and minis and nanos, I think we're getting it wrong in a way that we're measuring it and we're defining it by number of followers, which is that metric, as Emily said. For me, the reason why it's so different, the price is so different from for megas or like same audience size creators, is that that's just the media part of whatever the creator can deliver to you, So the media will change. It doesn't matter anymore if there's no organic reach anymore. Followers don't count anymore. You're going to buy their reach. Like right now, brands are putting as much money to boost the posts as they're paying for the creators to create that content. So that ship has sailed in terms of media and what it means. And I think it goes back to what we started talking about. So the creator can deliver you distribution, but it also can deliver you context. It can deliver you creation, because it will create according to the brief. It's going to deliver you production. It's going to deliver you the metrics. So it's a whole ecosystem of services that it's like multiple vendors in one person. What is the ROI of your creative agency, honestly? What is the ROI of your production company? You don't make those questions. You measure the ROI on media. But creators are not only that. So I think that's the disconnect, because if they are creating and producing the piece of content, it doesn't matter how many views they gave you. You already had to pay them for like the work, right? So I think that's the disconnect, because when you put AI in the equation, where is it sitting? Is it in the production? Is it in the creative? Is it in the media? So I mean, what is it in the production? So does it really matter? Because it's not easy to operate AI if you think about it. Try to just out of a prompt create like a good piece of content. It's impossible. So it requires you to have a lot of context. And then we're talking about context prompting and not prompt engineering anymore. So I think it shouldn't change the price, because you still need the human, and you still need the person that understands about that community, that niche, that behavior, that culture, that inner, circle, to be able to create a good piece of content with AI.
I agree with you, but there's still a challenge on branding education, because when you say we shouldn't be measuring results, how a brand that is yes, because again, I'm talking about the agency side, the pressure that we have to achieve KPIs, I cannot even describe. And it's becoming more and more pressure on our side, because they are delegating their budget to us. And because now creators, it became the #1 investment for any brands. So a CMO to approve a budget of $5 million a year to spend on influencer, that CMO needs to go back to the CFO and CEO and say, we invested $5 million this year, and this is what the return of investment we're getting. So it is very challenging. It's true. I agree with everything you said about measurement. I agree that create content takes a lot of time, because the content that we're seeing now, they are much more organic, but doesn't mean that they're organic or imperfect. They're not having a lot of work behind when you're creating. So I think we go back to the brand education, because big companies, and then here you see we have Coca-Cola, Unilever, Spotify, all these big brands that they want to invest in influencers. And I'm afraid to say, when they work with us, all they want to see is the KPI being achieved. And Emily worked for Amazon, so you know how is the pressure.
Well, yeah, I think the challenge we're always going to have is there's so much nuance and so many variables in this, right? So you're working with people. You're not buying media. You are working with individual people, and you're buying that trust, as Emily was saying. You're buying that credibility, and you're buying into that audience and that community. The challenge we'll always have is the person behind it. So not only the person on the production side, but also in terms of how their audience engages with them. It's not a straightforward process. And so a great example of this actually is Gymshark, who are an incredible brand, essentially built on creators. And they have a really interesting strategy where they essentially pinpoint different creators to different objectives. So some creators will create amazing content. Some creators will convert really well with their audience, and their audience will buy everything that they recommend. And some creators deliver amazing reach. And sometimes you get the holy grail of someone who can deliver all in one. Those creators are very expensive to work with, because they know their value. And so I think that it's always going to be a little bit challenging, and I think we do have to keep challenging brands in terms of you can't have these really binary metrics. And I like the concept of brands having kind of one single goal or mission that feels less tangible, but that gives creators a bit of a look into kind of the reason for the campaign, what they're looking for the creator to help achieve, and how can the creator help build and deliver that for them. And that could be, we are looking to drive sales of a particular product area, or we're looking to step into a conversation. How do you measure against that? Yes, you've got your key metrics, but I think that we've still got a long way to go.
And as we are at the World Women Foundation panel, the last question for this incredible, women here, how we are as women redefining the creative economy.
This is the one thing I actually love about the creator economy, is that it has given women a platform to actually anyone can now create and build a company. It's kind of, social media has democratized the barrier to actually go and build a company through social media. Like, it's the stay-at-home mom who had a passion project around creating very organic, clean ingredients for their baby have now, I know, started companies. It's truly revolutionized having more female founders into this as well. So it's very exciting. I'm also working, one of my clients is a new media company as well. It's called Collective Memory. And the great thing here is like it's actually flipping the infrastructure of media as we know it, or social media. There's no algorithm. There's no public likes. There's no public following. And you have to use the in-app camera. And so there's no barrier to like, oh, you have to have 50,000 followers to monetize. You can actually monetize the content there. So we're actually I'm seeing this on the platform, stay-at-home moms or moms who have jobs, but they are now able to, add an extra revenue stream into their family. Like they've used money that they've made on the platform to buy a new stroller, a new laptop, etc. And we also see it with going back to like Emily Weiss from Glossier to Sarah Blakely, they've all like looked at, like they started with the community online and then really built a business through that. And also now with like Hot Smart Rich, Maggie Sellers, so it's a really, I think it's been an amazing platform for female women entrepreneurs. Yeah.
100% agree. I do think we still have some gaps to kind of solve. If you think that 70% of the creator economy is made by women, so content engagement, like moving people and pushing products and moving a lot of things culturally, but they still make less money than the male creators. That for me is crazy. Exactly. The access to, even if you're a founder, in the end, I mean, I participated in many and advise M&As, and I raise money myself. The amount of questions and things that you have to prove as a woman to be able to access money, and I think money is what changes the game. You ask everybody. I was talking to a good friend. She's the founder of a big marketing agency, influencer marketing agency in Brazil. And I was like, oh my God, I think we should do that. This is the opportunity. And then she looked at me and she said, yeah, but then we need money, right? I said, yeah, that's hard. Yeah, and then she's trying. She's out there. She's trying to raise that money to be acquired. And it's so freaking hard. So I think what changes the game is money, access to money. Because we have the content, we have the distribution. We are freaking creative. We can do things. And we're moving a lot of things. But the money is still very, very male. Nothing against my male friends here, the 2 units of men that are here listening to us. Thank you so much.
I hard agree with everything you guys have said. I think from an industry standpoint, there's a really interesting point of view, I guess, I have around and my own experience, right? Like I stepped into this industry and I was 21. I worked in finance before, and I was talking about pensions all day, hated talking about pensions, started this blog as like a creative outlet, and just became obsessed with building this blog, posting on Instagram, and started to recognize that brands and bloggers were collaborating on Instagram and not on blog posts. And that for me opened up this door. So I entered via startups, but then I was able to build a knowledge and skill set in a growing area that people didn't know much about, and then leverage that to accelerate my career into really senior positions at a really young age. Like when I was at MediaCom, I think I was the youngest ever director they'd ever had at 25. And that was purely because I jumped into this industry early and been able to build a knowledge and skill set that big companies and brands then wanted to tap into. And the same goes for my friends. I've made so many incredible friends and learnt from so many incredible people who are all female in this space. And so I think there are so many incredible women working in the space. So it's really nice to be in rooms like this and be alongside other women that are doing great things. And I think that for me is super inspiring. And I think that, for young girls as well, there's so much opportunity in this space, either as a creator or working, at any sort of facet of the industry. And I think that's only going to grow and grow.
The one thing I would add in this, though, and you can see, I've seen it, like been in this age, is, and I think it's a very known stat around a woman usually apply for a job if they hit like 100% of the whole job description, while like a man usually like, oh, if they know 20-30%, like, yeah, let's go for it. And I have seen there's a lot of, and I have friends who have amazing agency, but they had no background in the creator economy at all. They see that, okay, this industry is generating a lot of money. You know, why do I not just start an agency? And they just go for it, because a lot of the agency leaders now, they are men. So I do think this is the one thing I would say, like, women, just honestly, just pick yourself and stand up for yourself and go for yourself and believe in yourself, because you can do it, and you do not need to know everything on that job description. So, yeah.
And I'm the testament of that, guys. I had struggled with my investors like a lot when I was, and I love to tell this story, and I think I told this story last time we were here. When I sold my business, then I bought it back. So when I bought it back, when I was trying to find an investor to help me to restructure, I went to two meetings, one of the private equity in London, another venture capital. And because I knew my pitch deck is just so inside out, that at that day I said to my advisor, you don't need to come to me, I'm fine, and I'm going to take this. So I went by myself, and then like, oh, welcome, but come here, like they're waiting for you. So I was there, and they're like, is someone coming with you? I was just like, no, it's just me. You don't have any male or any partner? And I was like, no, I'm the only founder. I just acquired back my business. They're like, oh, we didn't know that, because if you knew it, it wouldn't make you to come all the way here, because we don't invest in business that is 100% female-led. In the end, you know, like the word is so the word is so small, because I end up, you know, having, you know, finding amazing partners, everything restructured. And then 6 months ago, guess what? Who knocked in my door? That private equity. And I was just so happy to say, no, for now, I am super fine. So I think it's just like, and I think we as women, whether we work in the creative economy or founding a founder of a business, we need to use our voice. Yeah. And I think we needed to not be shy of our learnings, our mistakes, or the challenges and the success. Because if we share our voice, is how we're going to be able to change the whole industry, that being the market industry, the creative economy. I think that's our role. It's just like going out there, create content, talk about the story, and helping other voices to be shared as well. I think that's how I like to end this panel. Thank you. We could stay here forever, because such a good conversation, right? Emily, Bia, Emily, thank you so much for being this panel. Hope you have enjoyed and not have melted, because it's too hot. And even though we made it, thank you so much, World Women Foundation, for having us.